Here's a short story about a guy who handles things just right by kicking his fiancée to the curb after she showed him massive disrespect. I'm talking major, not to mention very likely hooking up with a former boyfriend. And of course, she's losing her whole mind because she never thought he would do such a thing. And this is a perfect example, guys, what happens when a gal has a perception of you like you're some kind of pushover and weak, and you actually don't put up with it, and she just is blindsided and loses her mind. And also, this is a lesson what happens when A, you get involved with a single MOM, because that's who he's with here, and B, she has lots of guy friends that he, doesn't seem to have a problem with. Titled, Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my fiancé after I found out that she and her ex hung out multiple times while she was on vacation? And a shout out to Zach for sending this story. He says, my fiancé and I were going around for the past 3 years, and we lived together. She recently went on a 4-week vacation with her 18-year-old daughter to Canada. They stayed with her family in Toronto, and from the first day of her vacation, she started treating me poorly. She's your fiancé and she's treating you poorly? Yeah, that's unacceptable. There was very little communication, and her excuse was that she had not seen her sister for 9 years, and she did not have time for me. What the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck? She hasn't seen her sister for 9 years? Okay. And you're not going on vacation with her, even though you're engaged, amongst other things, and doesn't have time for you? Yeah, okay. Does this sound like a woman that loves their guy? Well, her ex-boyfriend from many, many, many years ago lives in Toronto, and she has been speaking with him quite often prior to her vacation. Smack! Should never allow this, man. Your girl should be talking to other guys, especially exes, for heaven's sake. And oh yeah, smack again for being engaged as a single mom. During her vacation, I asked her on a few occasions if she had seen him, and she said no. Her calls with me became less frequent and shorter. Many times she called me and said she can't talk much as she was about to go out with her family, and she was very tired. Meanwhile, she's out with the ex-boyfriend. Well, she returned from her vacation 3 weeks ago and pretended as though nothing happened. Of course, she's acting like nothing happened. That's what they do. Of course, I suspected she was lying about her ex-boyfriend. Well, last week, I went through her phone for the very first time in our relationship. I did that while she was sleeping. I'm not proud of my actions, but it turns out that from the pictures and messages on her phone, that her ex hung out with her and her family on 9 occasions, including an overnight trip to Niagara Falls. Well, nothing good happens in Niagara Falls overnight with ex-boyfriends. There you go. 9 times. It sounds like Ferris Bueller's day off. 9 times. 9 times she hung out with her freaking ex. Meanwhile, she's like, I'm with the family the whole time. So much for the vacation with the daughter here. My first thought is this ex really the father of the daughter? Some of those events were so-called family events, only according to her. Yeah, well, she's a giant liar. So she's lied to me about her ex and their so-called family outings. I tried talking to her calmly about what had happened during her vacation, and also about the way she disrespected me, but she blamed me for her actions. Really? Of course. That's... Does this sound like this chick respects this guy? Not at all. Her action shows you she doesn't give a crap at all. He's just a guy to pay the bills and marry her and provide, nothing more. You can't tolerate this crap. There are no specific reasons given, just that it's all my fault. Well, it's always the guy's fault. That's what they always say. And her perception of this guy is he's a pushover. She's clearly a narcissist. She wanted to continue on with our relationship and also maintain a friendship with her ex. So am I the a-hole for breaking up with her? Of course not, dude. You'd be the a-hole if you stayed with her, but you're the hero. You're the king for getting rid of the bitch. He says, a clarification, many of you asked about the ex. He is not the daughter's father. So, guys, that's the whole point here, okay? If a girl really cares about you, she's going to want you to come with you on vacation. She's not going to be talking to ex-boyfriends or anything like that. She's going to miss you when she doesn't see you, not act like you're a big burden here. I think she got together with this guy because he helped provide. The daughter was obviously still a teenager a younger teenager, and she was milking him. And he obviously allowed a lot of other things to go on, and that's what happened. So don't get involved with single MOMs. Have some self-respect. When a gal treats you like crap, you get rid of them. I think she probably, I'm not done with the story here yet. She's probably losing it because she expected this guy just to take her crap. And by the way, excuse the rain, just started pouring out of nowhere. Florida in October. Now, so in the comments section, a lot of people were asking him questions, and you had some people that were on his side, and other people that were not on his side, labeling him controlling and all that. And guess who was labeling him controlling? women. So I'm going to read from people that were on his side and people that were not on his side. One guy says here, how have things gone since the betrayal? Has she ever come clean on her motivations about what happened or still living in her distorted field? And he says, I'm moving on with my life, spending quality time with family, etc. While she expressed regret for the way she treated me, she never showed any sign of remorse. So that's that on to better things for me. Well, of course she's not going to get remorse because she doesn't care. In her mind, she's right. She's a narcissist. Now here's one from a woman. This woman says, I have exes I still talk to and see. My husband has met them and has no problem with it. The only difference here is I would have told my husband that I was hanging out with him on vacation. Just because she hung out with the guy does not mean she was sleeping with him. Hear that from the woman? Well, guess what? This woman who's commenting, your husband's a simp because he shouldn't be allowing his wife to be hanging out and talking to other men, let alone with exes. That's ridiculous. But of course, this woman's defending her. And he responds, I'm not abusive nor am I the jealous type. My ex-fiancée had a lot of male friends, and I have hung out with most of them on many occasions. Smack! Hear that? That's why she treats him this way. As far as the ex goes, he was never a friend of her family, with the exception of one person that my ex-fiancée introduced him to just a few weeks prior to our vacation. The ex is recently separated from his wife, and my ex-fiancée initiated contact with him after the separation. I know this because of the messages I saw on her phone. So the ex is now single, now they're thinking about getting back together. For all you know, he could actually be the daughter's hot father. You never know. The other thing is, I never was invited on this vacation. Her excuse was that she wanted to be a daughter-mother trip. I now know the real reason. It wasn't a daughter-mother trip. The daughter was being used so she could go see this guy 9 times. Come on here. It's over. Another woman says to him, you sound a bit controlling to me. Surely it is valid to be busy and tired while visiting your family you haven't seen in a while. It sounds like you have her on a leash. She was upfront with being in contact with her ex before she ever left. What is your problem? The problem is that she saw him 9 times. That's insane, and she used the daughter for the thing. Holy crap, this rain. It's blue skies all over here except right there. I'm just going to shout here and finish this video here. He says here she was not upfront with her being in contact with the ex before the trip. I knew about that because I overheard them talking on multiple occasions. Sometimes she would either leave the room when he called. As for me being controlling, I'm exactly the opposite of that. She hangs out with her friends whenever she wants to, and that includes male friends. Smack! Well, she shouldn't be hanging out with other guys, dude. I include her in all my plans, including several vacations over the past year. She never wants to ask me to come along on this vacation. She can't be busy 24/7 for an entire month and have to spend that entire time, yet ex treat me like shit. Yeah, he invites her on vacations, but she doesn't invite him. Why? Because she's reconnected with the ex who happens to be broken up with his now girlfriend. And one more. This guy says, not the a-hole. In fact, you'd be the a-hole for staying with her. Was there anything in the messages indicating she actually cheated with him out there? And he says, there were pictures of them at various places, Niagara Falls, restaurants, bars, etc. No messages explicitly indicate that they hooked up, but she lied about all that. She says that I'm the love of her life and doesn't want to end their relationship. But I can't be with someone who disrespected me like that while her family was morally bankrupt and complicit in her betrayal of me. Yeah, the family was in on this too. So anyhow, no, he did the right thing. He'd be the a-hole if he stayed with her. So there you go, guys. Don't get involved with single MLMs. If your girl has guy friends, you can say pretty much, well, you can have the guy friends, or you can be in a relationship with me. You're not going to have both because they're just waiting around for their freaking turn, or frankly, there's other things going on. So good for this guy for handling things right in the end, and thank you guys for putting up with the fucking rain here.